Today I fucked up by taking Ambien for a good night's rest and getting forcibly escorted to the ER. This happened 3 weeks ago, but I have been too mortified to post it yet. CW, this story could be triggering for some folks as it alludes to drug use and mental illness, though it is not a serious topic as my stupidity is the only tragedy here. My mother and I are both prescribed Ambien for insomnia. Ambien, the notorious sleeping pill that makes people hallucinate tiny robot armies in their rooms and go on racist tirades on Twitter. Thankfully I've only had some funny, some cringy, some regretful experiences on this medicine, but in the 5 years I've taken it, I'd never done anything truly cringeworthy, until now. 3 weeks ago finds us the weekend before Thanksgiving, and as we lay in cute Saturday morning cuddles ordering some breakfast, I discovered my long-term partner had a Tinder. After kicking him out of the apartment, I was living alone going through the roller coaster of emotional scorned woman, and as someone with anxiety-induced insomnia, this triggered a lot of sleepless nights. Now, I'm prescribed the absolute lowest dose of slow-release Ambien. I've had a history of it not working if I've eaten recently or been too anxious to sleep. Either the drug would not work, or I'd find myself wide awake and very loopy. I brought this up to my PCP who refused to raise the dose. So, if I needed to sleep, I would take 2 to sleep. In hindsight this is the first fuck up. Flash forward to this post-infidelity scorned woman electric boogaloo, during COVID shutdowns and grad school finals and the holidays. My stress is at an all-time high and I'm not sleeping well no matter what I do. On the Wednesday before Thanksgiving I take my first dose of Ambien around 8 p.m, hoping to get a good night's rest before seeing a friend the next day. No luck. 9 p.m. rolls around and all I feel is mildly high and wide awake. I take a second pill. 9:30, still wide awake, but getting slightly loopy. I decide to take a third. After taking it I realize I should really be careful and look up the safe dosage on these. I don't want to overdose. So I pull out my phone and try to Google. If you've ever typed stuff out under the influence of Ambien, you will know that things start to get weird here. Everything is in a dreamlike state. Keyboard visuals get blurry and move. Nothing really seems strange or bothers you. So what do I do to make sure I don't accidentally overdose on Ambien? Type into Google, how much Ambien to overdose. Strangely, the results I'm getting do not tell me how much Ambien is too much, just vague references to its danger, and in my Ambien state, this is mildly frustrating. Why won't the wise Google tell me this crucial information I need? But then I see it. A big orange button on the top of the screen right under my search bar. It says call here for help. Suddenly my loopy, hypnotic prayers have been answered. Hooray, I am in need of help. Perhaps this friendly orange button leads to poison control or a friendly doctor hotline of a sort who can help me with my question. My walls are also shimmering and I'm convinced my plants are telepathically talking to me. But that wasn't the main focus right then. I press the help button and my phone begins calling a number. I hear an automated voice and I'm not too sure what it says. But then a woman answers and asks me how I'm doing. She sounds very kind and concerned. It is important to note that Ambien is technically not a sleeping drug but a hypnotic. This is why people under its influence tend to not question things too much and are not greatly bothered by the out of the ordinary, because nothing really seems too out of the ordinary. It is also important to note that I did not in fact call poison control or the helpful doctor people as I had so dreamily believed. No, in all my infinite Ambien wisdom, I had called the National Suicide Hotline. I'll keep it straightforward from here. The nice lady asked me questions about myself and how I was doing. I said fine, I was just trying to go to sleep and wanted to know how much Ambien was safe to take. She asked me how much I'd already taken. I told her. Then she asked me if I lived alone, and to my mild embarrassment I began crying due to the fact I was very freshly alone. This was the second fuck up. But I say I am okay, I am just trying to get some good sleep. We hang up eventually, The memories are pretty murky. She kept asking me if I was sad about my partner, which annoyed me, asked me if I wanted to keep living, which I said of course, but as I'm settling into bed my mother calls from 4 states away asking why the hometown police are at her door at 11 p.m. before Thanksgiving to do a wellness check on their suicidal daughter. Thankfully my mother knows Ambien antics quite well, and after me explaining the situation, hearing my strange whacked out speech, and having a good laugh, she is able to get the cops to go away satisfied. I hang up and start drifting off, and then there is a knock at my door. Unsatisfied with our phone call, the suicide hotline sent a team of the MS and cops to my apartment to bring me to the hospital in an ambulance for an involuntary psychiatric eval. Through my Ambien fever dream, I am trying to explain to the cops that this is all a misunderstanding while also madly hallucinating and swaying while walking because my balance is gone. MS go through my cabinets, find my prescription bottle, see it's emptier than it should be, due to having to double up, and haul my delirious and sleepy ass into a 5-minute ambulance ride to the nearest ER, where I try to explain myself to doubtful nurses that I am not suicidal before absolutely conking out on a gurney under preventative watch. About 4 hours later a med resident came in to do my psych eval, and after deciding that though I was a woman scorned with bad insomnia I was indeed not at risk to myself or others, asks me how the hell I ended up in the ER. I explain myself the best I can and the poor guy has to apologize, he's laughing so hard. A quick phone call with my poor mother confirms my story and I am released into the night. I insisted I wanted to go home and not stay until morning, where I stumble around and manage to charge my dying phone at a nearby police station and then find an Uber home. All in all, I arrive back in my apartment around 4 in the morning and make a strong cup of stress relief tea before crashing on the couch and praying I wouldn't remember this when I woke up. Moral of the story, I am looking at non-prescription insomnia treatments. If you or a loved one are struggling with Ambien or other drug dependency, I highly recommend looking into resources to help you in whatever way you need. Ambien can be a hell of a habit-forming drug, and don't wait till you pull a stupid ass stunt of my level to realize it's time to kick it. TL, doctor, took a higher dose of Ambien than usual, tried to call poison control while hallucinating but accidentally called the National Suicide Hotline. Edit, wording, removed a boogaloo due to popular request. Edit 2. Please don't take this as an inspiration to recreationally try Ambien. I had been trying to shake it off for months, but this was the moment that made me flush them all down the toilet the morning I woke up. Nothing like pure mortification and a hefty bill to inspire you to quit. Edit 3. Free guilds are one thing, but please don't give Reddit money to award my super stupid fuck up. $10 to a non-profit or person out of work due to COVID is better spent than giving meaningless stuff to Reddit and strangers. Lots of musicians and small businesses are struggling right now. Support my stupidity by buying a record or a local meal instead. Edit 4. Last edit. Thank you all for the private DMs giving me advice on what's helped you with sleep issues. I can't respond to everyone, but the level of care from some of you has really touched my heart. I'll leave you with this Ambien walrus moment from my mother to my extended family a year back. Mother-in-law once had a really bad trip. She doubled up her dose, then decided to rearrange her room at 2 a.m., including moving bookcases and falling on her ass. This woman can barely walk some days, and here she is at 2 a.m. moving heavy furniture. So we no longer allow that in the house. Where does she stay then? I love after all that you had tea and crashed on the couch. Maybe that tea is the secret to sleep lol. Yogi's Honey Lavender Stress Relief Soothing Serenity Blend. I'm actually using it to get to sleep these days because it puts me out in such a soothing way. Not sure why this combo of herbs works so well for me where other sleep herbs tend to make me just feel heavy and weird, but holy shit, this is the nectar of the gods. I'm guessing the rooibos and passion flower extract do the heavy lifting to signal sleep to my body, while the others support some general relaxation and mood lifting. It's not like Ambien, but I'm kind of into that these days. I was a long-time Ambien user, but the sleep I got was not all that refreshing, and I gained a ton of weight from raiding the refrigerator and pantry shortly after taking the drug. Fortunately, I have subsequently lost the weight. And I changed PCPs and she put me on trazodone. It has been a godsend and changed my life. I am usually asleep within 10 minutes of getting into bed, and I feel rested in the morning when I wake up. And the dreams. I hadn't had a dream in 25 years. It is so much fun to dream again. It may not be for everyone, but it's been great for me. Edit, spelling and grammar. I had a girlfriend who took Ambien. Sometimes I'd get up in the morning to find her passed out on the sofa with dozens of empty American cheese wrappers scattered around her like confetti. She'd be just as confused as I was. I took an Ambien after having a few drinks at a hotel in Hong Kong. I woke up at 2 AM in the lobby of the hotel wearing my underwear and a shirt. Rather confused, I told the front desk clerk I don't seem to have my key, can you help me? Hotel clerk looked at me angrily, and just said for the 100th time, I know. I'm not giving you another key though. Apparently I had been an annoying twat for the previous 2 hours, and hotel staff were debating calling the police. I have zero memory of it. Well, I never want to take Ambien. This was funny. Glad you're okay. IOB/Gyn prescribed me Ambien for the night before my C-section. I doubled up BC. The first dose didn't work and it did nothing to alleviate my stress. I just stayed up and was out of it. I think it interacted with all the painkillers the following morning though. BC, I was out of it after giving birth. I remember holding my baby before the nurses took her back to check everything, and I was acting like an idiot for like 30 minutes before I finally knocked out. Today I fucked up by getting tased by my grandmother. I still can't comprehend what was weirder, the sensation of being tased for the first time or the fact that it was my grandmother who tased me. Anyway, there have been many robberies around my grandparents' neighborhood, so I got my grandma a taser just in case anything happens and taught her how to use it, since the police take half a century to arrive. After like a week, my mum, sister and decided to spend the rest of weekend at our apartment right above my grandparents' house. So when we reached our apartment, which is like a 5 seconds walk away from my grand's, my mum remembered that she did not get enough water for the 3 of us for the whole night, so she gives me 2 huge glass bottles and tells me to fill them with water at Granny's house. Our dispenser was clapped because of the dust accumulation lol. Here's the catch: if it was 7, 8, or even 9 PM I would've simply knocked the door and finished filling the bottles, but it was 1 AM past midnight. Can you imagine the chills an old lady in her 70s would feel if she hears water flowing at the kitchen in the middle of the night? Or even the chills that ran down my spine as I tried to unlock an old wooden door with mildly rusty hinges, fill 2 bottles using a loud as FCK dispenser and zooming out ASAP. I didn't want to knock the door on an elderly couple in the middle of the night, hoping my gran would hear me saying I'm her grandson, not some sadistic maniac trying to rob her. So firstly I tried to open the door as silently as possible, but to no avail. It squeaked like a kid high on cocaine. I can't even imagine how I got past that door without waking up half the neighborhood. Secondly, I tiptoed to the loud as FCK water dispenser and started filling each bottle slowly but steadily. At this point, all my senses were amplified. My heart rate was like a Mexican band on crack performing on a holiday, and I was sweating profoundly. See, this is where my grandmother sneaks up on me while I turned my back to fill the bottles. She didn't know it was me because I was in my pajamas. They're baggy and comfy as hell, but they make me look like a hobo sometimes. Just for that, she thought I was a hobo trying to steal something from the kitchen, so she rammed the taser into my back and electrified me. I can't even describe what it felt like or what the hell I was doing, whether I was solid as a plank or wiggling violently like a f-king fish. Even more, it took her a solid 5 seconds to realize it was actually me, not someone else, until she stopped tasing my dumbass. It turned out that the door did actually wake up half the neighborhood, including my grandma, and she was preparing the taser as I filled the bottles. I don't know what I was supposed to expect from sneaking in past midnight and causing a shitton of noise in the process. Hell, I don't even know if I should be proud of my grandma for taking action against an intruder, which I clearly was, or pissed because I got f-king tased by an old lady for filling water bottles. Too long didn't read, got tased by my grandmother while filling water bottles after midnight. Edit, Grandma says hi. Edit 2, forgot to mention, didn't really know if I should cry or laugh the instant after she stopped electrifying me, so I did a bit of both, at the same time. The next day, we had a heck of a laugh about what happened. Edit 3, I didn't think it through to get water in the morning because I am not very smart late at night, especially after a long tiring day. No, I did not pee my pants though, that would have been funny. Today I fucked up by not stripping my wife. My wife has some issues with a bad back. The other day while we were out shopping it was giving her a lot of trouble, so we got some stick-on heat bandages for her. These have helped in the past. They worked well and we continued our shopping. Cut to many hours later. We're sitting at home after dinner and our son notices the top of the patch sticking out of the back of the collar of her shirt and asks about it. She tells him what it is and then says to me, by the way, can you help me detach? Lifts her shirt, and turns her back to me. These things can have some really good adhesive, so rather than the slow peel, I've grabbed the top and yanked it all in one hit. She's screamed and sworn at me, clenched fists dangerous close to the boys. Turns out it wasn't the heat patch she want removed. With her shoulders and back hurting, she couldn't reach around to unhook her bra. She'll often get me to help undo it after a long day. She's quite busty, so there can be a decent amount of pressure on those clips. But instead of unclipping her bra to release the weight from her shoulders, I've yanked a good 25 centimeters of adhesive off her back. And that's the story of my most dangerous near-death experience. Too long didn't read, wife wanted me to help take her bra off. I've misunderstood and ripped off a medicated patch, also removing any chance of getting laid this week, and almost removing the ability to get laid ever again. Edit, a few people have asked about breast reduction. We're on the list to get it done through the public medical system. We don't have any insurance. We're Australian, so that's not too bad. It's classed as non-essential, so it's a long list. The recommendations of places to get larger bras are appreciated. I will be giving her the list. Bras her size are hard to find, and never cheap, so hopefully something recommended here will help. Edit 2, some people have expressed sole concern about taking her bra off at the table. She lifts the back of her shirt, leaving the front down, and I unhook. Then she goes to our room to actually get changed. Noting is shown. Others have asked about applying patches to the skin rather than to the shirt. These ones specifically say to attach to the skin. Just triple checked.